So everyone, let's talk a bit about Zoon's albums. I have brushed the surface by talking about Doors into the Paradise in a previous video, but although the music within the album itself is really enjoyable and hold many secrets, it is not the subject matter for today. I'll come back to it later. Instead, how about we discuss the latest CDs of his library? Yeah, these two. It may seem weird, right? I mean, Dr.Latency's Freak Report and Dateless Bar were not released together, so how could they share a common link that would be of any interest? Outside of the fact that both of these albums contain a lot of Legacy of Lunatic Kingdom tracks, which is logical since the CDs came out after this one was released, they also share the mention of a certain Swallowstone in the title of the album for Dr.Latency's and in the second song's name for Dateless Bar. We accepted the name as is, but hang on. What the heck is a Swallowstone? And for that matter, what is the thing that goes along with it? The Naturalist Historia. Of course, the entire name refers to the magazine Renko and Maribel put up together, but I'm talking literally. Where does it come from? Well, this is where it gets interesting. So let's get into the bar, get a small drink, I'll be getting an orange juice, I can't really handle alcohol very well, and talk about this stone first. Now, if I've learned something about the Japanese language, it's that breaking up the kanji into multiple parts makes it much easier to understand. Therefore, let's get to it. Here's the way Swallowstone is written, with the kanji for swallow, which is tsubame, and the other one for stone, which is ishi. However, in order to get what it means, we need to turn its pronunciation around and instead pronounce it the way the Chinese people would, which would give us Enseki. The term isn't all that used, but it's present in a work entitled Yanshi-zashi, which is a sort of gathering of yokai sightings written by Kyokute Bakin, also known by his real name, Takizawa Okikuni. The title is in Chinese because I couldn't really find it in Japanese. I'm not an all-seeing eye, sorry about that. This book showed how the representation of yokai was back in the time, but also more importantly, how the yokai used to be seen and how the legends were modified. It wasn't the only book to do this, however, the comments from the author itself made the book very interesting, as, quoting from the author, he wanted to distinguish between the truth and the false, although being based on one standpoint is not the best way to split those two apart. In the West, we would most closely associate this mindset with an expression, to find fool's gold, which has its origin from two metal and mineral, gold and pyrite. The most informed would be able to make the difference, and same goes for the yokai. People would be able to know if a legend was real or if it wasn't. The reason Zoon used this term to start with is to express the love for what the characters would write down in the story. He wanted to give out a feeling that would most closely correspond to, I may be the only one thinking that this work is valuable, but I don't care what the other think, I'll stay positive about it. Like what Maribel and Renko are doing in their story. They want to spread their true and false informations, although in their case, people seem to be rather interested in what they are doing. Moving on to the second part of the mystery, what is the Naturalist Historia? Out of the two, this is surely the easiest one to explain, as this time, it is an encyclopedia that was written in Latin by a Roman author, Pliny the Elder. The books in themselves are quite long as they each contain around 300 pages of natural history obviously, but also various things about art, minerals, geography, pharmacology, and such. Though, let's be honest, if you plan to read it, I hope you're ready because the way the book is structured is really uncommon. Why was its name used for Renko and Maribel's magazine then, you ask? Simply because of one fact. This book was used everywhere as a model for the encyclopedias that came afterwards, mainly because of the sheer amount of information that was crammed into its 10 volumes. It not only allowed people to have a general, broader understanding of nature and its surroundings, but also to learn more about the human being in general. And even though I'm sure this is just a coincidence and nothing more, the books also mention certain birds, like the swallow, and as previously mentioned, it also delves into minerals and precious stones. So what better way to name your magazine than to literally mention a series of books which registered a ton of information about life itself. It's especially clever when you combine it with another book which gathers the way legends and monsters are seen. Let me recite a little paragraph coming from Maribel, directly from Dr.Latency's story to support what I'm saying right now.
I saw a forest rich with diversity. I saw a proud, holy mountain shut off to creatures who preferred the lower ground. I saw a deep lake covered in an arcane mist, whose sights weren't just beautiful, but natural too.
What she's clearly doing, along with Renko, is make a list of what paranormal sights she has seen. She doesn't really care whether they are true or not. What they both strive for is to share those sightings with other people and make, if possible, their own Swallowstone naturalist historia. I've got to hand it to Zune, the name is in fact pretty cunning. I guess this was to be expected after all. To release a magazine that talks about several dozens of mysteries, you need to have an eye-catching title. Now all we have to do is wait and see what the two are going to write in the future. Maybe one day we'll get a grimoire of Maribel. Oh well, maybe I'm just dreaming too much. I'm gonna go now. Don't worry, I have already paid my part. I hope what I told you was interesting though, but until the next video, so long everyone, so long.